G'day, I'm RJ. Welcome to the Nerdy Dad channel on this hot and humid spring evening. Let's talk about the Ahsoka series. By the time this video comes out, the series finale will have been 2 weeks ago. So I've had a bit of time to think about what I think about this series. Just a quick warning, I am talking about the series as a whole, and I'm assuming you've seen it. So I am going to talk about things that might be considered spoilers. But as I said just a minute ago, the series came out 2 weeks ago. If you were going to watch it, you probably have. Okay, I like the series. In fact, I really like the series. I do have some problems with it, and those problems mainly come down to, I suppose, plot points, arcs not finished, and they come down to, I suppose, dialogue. So plot and dialogue. No, not overall. I do actually like the plot. The general beats of the plot I like a lot. It's just certain arcs that weren't as fleshed out as I would have liked or weren't completed. Those things annoyed me. And it's not that I hated all of the dialogue on the show, but dialogue was, not the overall strong point. What I love about the series is world building. I suppose, and I didn't mention up top, look, the showrunner, the writer, the primary writer and the showrunner who also directed episode 5, which I believe is possibly the best episode of the whole series, of the whole season. But the showrunner is Dave Filoni, the man in the cowboy hat. We all know him from Clone Wars and Rebels. Obviously, he cut his teeth in live action, working alongside Jon Favreau in The Mandalorian, and now he has his own series in Ahsoka. And there are things that he did where I wonder if some of the problems with the show come from the fact that he is still inexperienced as a live action, I suppose, series maker, as a live action streaming show, TV show maker, coming from animation, or if the difference is something else. The more I thought about the problems I have with the show, the dialogue could use fleshing out, but the plot problems I had with the show, whether it's, as I said, plot points that were kind of glossed over or plot points that were sort of not completed in this series or not fleshed out well in this series, I wonder if part of the problem is that he's used to having, admittedly slightly shorter episodes, but he's used to having longer series, 12, 20 episodes in a series of the Clone Wars or Rebels. They're not 8-episode series. And admittedly, 8 is better than 6, which is what a lot of the other Disney Plus shows have. It's Loki, which is on right now, only has 6 episodes. So 8 is better than 6. But I wonder if part of the problem that I have with the way the plot turned out and the way certain things were glossed over is that he's used to having a longer series to play with. Therefore, if he wants to veer off and do a really cool Night Sister arc with Night Sister zombies, he can do an episode or 2 on that, and it doesn't take away from the plot. Whereas he does this here, and it takes away time that maybe could have been spent doing something else. Now, I use that as an example. I really loved the Night Sister stuff. I loved the zombies. I thought it was awesome. But I wonder if that really cool thing that was injected took away time that could have been used for something else. However, if they had more episodes, more time, then you can have your cool stuff and actually finish your plot. So, yeah. But I mean, that's what I dislike. What I liked about it, what Dave Filoni does really well, is the same thing that George Lucas does really well. Why I love Star Wars, and that is the world building. Dave Filoni has obviously woven things in from the Clone Wars and Rebels, which are his series, and put them into live action. He's taken things from the novels, he's taken things from the video games, and where he hasn't taken them, some of his background set designers have put them in. No, look, Dave Filoni is known to be a big Star Wars nerd himself. I've got no doubt that he had a hand in putting some of the Easter eggs in there. But he's fleshed out this world. He's added, as I said, into live action things like the Witches of Dathomir. And he's really done a good job fleshing out this world. Now, while I have a problem with the way some dialogue and some character points, not so much the character points, some plot points were managed, what I don't have a problem with is the general arc of character development. I love episode 5, that inflection point for Ahsoka. Look, the title character is Ahsoka, the show's called Ahsoka, and while there is an argument it could have been called Ahsoka and Sabine, because she is a very major secondary character, episode 5, to my mind, possibly the best episode of the series, was all about Ahsoka and her growth. Yes, it was about seeing Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker again. It was about seeing the Clone Wars, seeing young Ahsoka. My God, how impactful was it seeing a child playing Ahsoka during the Clone Wars? You really felt how messed up the Clone Wars were. The Jedi had literal child soldiers. I mean, I knew Ahsoka was 14, but then you see a teenager playing her, a human teenager, not an animated character, and you feel, oh my God, she was 14 in a war zone. That's horrific. And I know that in parts of the world that really happens, and that is horrific. So yeah, that was, as I said, to me, possibly my favorite episode for the character development, for what it did for the character of Ahsoka, as well as the things we saw, as I said, like Hayden Christensen reprising as well, like the Clone Wars. But I love that growth from Ahsoka. I liked Sabine as well and her growth through the series. I'm not so sure I like the big Force double push with Ezra right at the end. It didn't come out of nowhere. We all knew something like that was going to happen, but it was a big jump from, hey, I can finally pull my lightsaber, to, I'm going to launch my best friend across this chasm. Hope I don't slip. But you know what? She had faith in herself, faith in the Force, and I suppose that's a very Jedi thing to do, so she's grown through the series. Sticking with Ezra and the finale, I suppose let's just pick on the things I don't like. I didn't like that Ezra landed in the middle of the, I was about to say Rebel fleet. It's not. It's the New Republic fleet in Stormtrooper gear. Why? Why wouldn't he announce who he was? Hell, after how Baylan Skoll and Shin Hati broke into the New Republic prison ship at the very start of the series, why they let him land, why they didn't blast him out of the sky. And I know they're the New Republic, they're the good guys. Cops don't just open fire for no reason. Well, yeah, you know, armies of democracy don't just open fire for no reason. I get it. But my God, that was, and I know it was supposed to mirror, it's like poetry, it rhymes. It was supposed to mirror the first scene, the last scene. But you'd think the New Republic security forces would learn. Other than that really glaring problem with the scene, it was great to see Ezra and Hera reunited. But yeah, Thrawn is loose in the galaxy. I'm very interested to see what's next in the Favreau-Filoni neck of the, I suppose, post-Return of the Jedi Star Wars. I want to see what they do next, because where they left it with Ahsoka and Sabine, all the way over in another galaxy with Balin on a statue of the father. Those Lord of the Rings-esque statues of the father, the son, and the daughter. For those who haven't watched the Mortis arc of the Clone Wars, I highly recommend it. It looks like it's going to be important. But that brings me back to, as much as I love that scene, by the way, absolutely love it, but that brings me back to the arcs that weren't finished. What is Balin after? I mean, it would have been great to see a, how long was it, 8? 16 episode series where we got to see Balin go after it, whatever he's after, and either achieve it or fail to achieve it or get some resolution there. But at least it would have been nice, even if that didn't happen, we still could have left it at 8 episodes. It would have been nice to at least know what he's going after. Okay, so we get some sense that it's either going to be something to do with Mortis or the world between worlds. I'm thinking Mortis. Has Mortis got something to do with this other galaxy? I don't know. And this is the thing, nobody knows. It wasn't said in the story. There's no... Well, there is a hint as to what Balin's after because he finishes up on that statue. And, you know, people theorized from the start that it was something to do with Mortis. But for not to be said, for there to be a Mortis god present on this planet and not to have Ahsoka have some... Ahsoka, who is tied to the daughter, who has the daughter's life force inside of her, to not have her know that this place has some link back to Mortis. It's excruciating to me. And I suppose that's what, if an Ahsoka Season 2 happens, I have to assume that's what Ahsoka Season 2 is going to be. Or if it's not called Ahsoka Season 2, if it's called... They are going to have to recast Balin. They can't leave Balin's story there. They just can't. So with the tragic passing of Ray Stevenson, whoever they cast, I hope he does half as good a job. Because that character... I mean, it's never all about the actor. You know, he was given lines, he was directed, you know, cinematographer shot him, somebody gave him his costume, but that character was all about the actor. And I think it's such... Well, of course it's a shame that he passed. But where they left the story, it's going to be hard to continue unless they recast. So, on that unfortunate note, I've gone on for way longer than I like to do these. I'm going to leave it there. If you like the video, please give me a like. There will be more Star Wars content on this channel. Look, if there's two things I can guarantee is that there will always be nerdy content, and a good chunk of that nerdy content is going to be Star Wars. It's my favorite franchise, favorite, I suppose, science fiction, fantasy, space opera property. All right, so if you want some more, you can subscribe to the channel here. This is the Nerdy Dad, signing off.